At night, when the world finally goes silent, your soul gets louder. And the feeling that creeps in isn't random. It's not fear. It's not just another sleepless night. It's a pull, deep in your chest, like something unseen is trying to reach you. But what if that pull isn't a problem to numb? What if it's Allah, reaching for your heart in the only moment you finally stop running? And the restlessness you keep trying to escape is actually a sacred conversation you haven't answered yet. 1. You're not just awake. You're being woken. It's late again, the kind of late where everything outside is still, but everything inside you feels loud. The fan is spinning. The clock is ticking. The room is dark. And your body is tired. But your soul won't let you sleep. You lie there, staring at the ceiling like it holds answers. You turn on your side, then on your back again, checking your phone even though no one's messaging. You scroll without thinking. You sigh without meaning to. You keep adjusting the blanket, hoping maybe comfort will sneak back in. But nothing works. Nothing helps. Nothing calms the storm you can't explain. And so you start calling it names. It's anxiety. It's just stress. It's probably that thing I said earlier. Maybe I'm still not over what they did to me. But here's the truth you've been avoiding. This isn't just emotional. It's not just mental. It's spiritual. You're not just lying awake. You're being woken. Not by fear, not by heartbreak, but by something far greater. You see, your soul knows things your mind hasn't caught up to yet. It remembers Allah. It remembers peace. It remembers a time when your heart was full without people, without attention, without noise. And when your soul starts to suffocate from dunya, it doesn't yell, it aches. It whispers in the only hour you're finally quiet enough to hear it. That ache in your chest, that pull you feel at 2:14 a.m. That sudden sadness that has no name, that's not a coincidence. That's not weakness. That's your soul being summoned. By the one who sees the tears that never fall. By the one who watches how hard you pretend all day. And waits until the moment you stop pretending. Because that's when he speaks. But not in words. In restlessness. In stillness. In nights that feel too long for no reason at all. You weren't forgotten. You weren't abandoned. You were chosen. Allah only disturbs the sleep of those he wants to bring closer. And sometimes, he knows he can't reach you when you're smiling in front of others, so he waits for the moment when you're finally alone. When the room is dark, and your heart is loud, and the only thing left is truth. That truth is, your soul is starving. Not for food, not for love from people, but for a moment with the one who's been calling it back over and over again. And you keep calling it a problem. When it's really a gift, you keep trying to silence it, when it's Allah trying to speak. So the question isn't, why can't I sleep tonight? The question is, what is Allah trying to wake inside me that I've been too busy to feel? And maybe, just maybe, tonight wasn't meant for sleep. It was meant for return. Not to them, not to who you used to be, but to him, the one who's always waited, just for this moment, just for you. 2. The ache you feel isn't pain. It's a pulse from the unseen. There's a specific kind of ache you've been carrying. It doesn't scream like heartbreak. It doesn't burn like anger. It's quieter than all that, but heavier. It sits in your chest like a knot, tight, uncomfortable, and impossible to explain. No words capture it. No distraction removes it. And the more you try to ignore it, the louder it becomes. It shows up when the room gets quiet, when the laughter stops, when no one's watching and your guard finally drops. You try to shake it off, play music, scroll, eat, maybe even pray half-heartedly, but the ache remains. And so you start to wonder, what is this feeling? Why do I feel so empty? Even when nothing's wrong, you call it sadness. You assume it's just stress. But deep down, a small voice inside you whispers, this isn't sadness. This is something else. That voice is right. Because this ache, you keep calling pain, it's not from your body. It's not from your mind. It's from your soul. It's a pulse from the unseen, a divine signal, a tap on your chest from the one who created you, not to punish you, but to remind you that your soul was never made for this world's noise, that your peace isn't missing, it's being recalled to a place where it once knew Allah with clarity, before the heartbreak, before the betrayal, before the overthinking, before the version of you that learned how to survive by pretending to be okay. That ache is not weakness. It's a sacred invitation. It's Allah saying, you've drifted too far. Let me bring you back. Because when Allah wants your attention, He doesn't always use blessings. Sometimes He uses an ache so mysterious that only sujud can translate it. And when the pain doesn't go away, when the chest keeps tightening for no worldly reason, it's not a flaw, it's a message. Your soul has been starving, not for love, not for success, but for closeness to the one who gave it life. And the reason nothing soothes it is because only one thing can. Not a new city, not a new person, not a fresh start, but a return to Quran, to dhikr, to silence with Allah that feels like home again. So next time that ache rises out of nowhere, don't rush to fix it. Don't drown it. Just pause and listen, because maybe, just maybe, you're not being hurt. You're being held, not by the world, but by the mercy of a Lord who refuses to let your soul stay asleep any longer. He knows what you lost. He knows what you tried to become, but He also knows who you really are underneath it all. And He's sending you a pulse from the unseen to bring that soul back before it's too late. 3. You've been asking for a sign, but this is the sign. You've been asking for a sign, quietly, desperately, maybe even angrily, in sujud, in traffic, in between tears on your pillow. You've whispered it in your own way. Ya Allah, just show me. Give me something, anything, a hint, a dream, a door, a word, a feeling. And it's not that you doubt Allah exists. You just doubt if He's still watching you. You want to believe He hears you. But lately, the silence has made you question everything. You told yourself, if this feeling means something, give me a sign. If I'm still on the right path, give me a sign. If this heartbreak had a purpose, give me a sign. But what you didn't realize is that your need for a sign was the sign, the ache in your chest, the way your heart won't stop searching, the restlessness that keeps waking you up at 2:41 a.m., the emptiness that refuses to be filled with dunya. These aren't accidents. They're answers. Because when Allah wants to speak to you, He doesn't always send a miracle. He sends a mirror, a moment, a silence, a hunger in your soul that nothing else can satisfy. And here you are watching this, alone, at night, with eyes that have seen too much, and a heart that just wants something real. So ask yourself, why this video? Why tonight? Why now when you're at your lowest? Are these words reaching you like they were written just for you? Because they were. Allah sends people what they need, exactly when their heart is finally tired of chasing everything else. You've been searching for a door, but the pain, The silence? The late-night heaviness in your chest? That was the door. You just didn't realize you were already standing in front of it. Sometimes the you're begging for doesn't come from outside you. It comes from within you. That tug in your soul that says, I can't live like this anymore. I miss something I can't name. I don't want to be distant from Allah anymore. That is not weakness. That is awakening. You don't need another miracle. You need to open your eyes to the one that's already happening. The fact that your heart is still soft enough to want Allah after everything you've been through, that is the greatest sign. So stop asking, where is the sign? And start realizing the fact that your soul is tired of this world is proof that it still remembers where it came from and who it belongs to. You don't need to wait for a lightning bolt or a voice in the sky. This is your sign, and you knew it the moment you felt something shift in your heart while reading these words. Now the only question left is, will you go back to sleep, or will you answer the call that was sent just for you? 4. The world went quiet, so you could hear what you've been drowning out. Everything around you has been getting quieter lately. People don't text like they used to. Your phone stays dry. Conversations feel empty. Even the noise that once distracted you doesn't hit the same anymore. And maybe you thought it was loneliness. Maybe you started thinking, everyone's pulling away. No one really understands me anymore. But what if it's not them pulling away? What if it's Allah pulling you in? Because you've been surrounded by noise for so long that you forgot how to hear yourself. You've been drowning in the chaos, scrolling, liking, replying, performing. You've been so connected that you became completely disconnected from your own soul. So Allah started turning down the volume, one by one. The people, the events, the plans, the dreams, and at first it felt like loss. But in reality, it was mercy. You see, when Allah wants to awaken a heart, He doesn't always add more. Sometimes He subtracts. He removes the voices you were depending on, so you can finally hear His. He clears the room, so you can finally feel what's always been sitting inside you, unprocessed, unspoken, unhealed. You were too busy to grieve properly, too distracted to feel your own exhaustion, too caught up to realize that your peace wasn't real. It was performative, and so the world went quiet. Not to punish you, but to give you space to breathe again, to break again, to rebuild again, this time with Him. There's a silence that breaks you, and then there's a silence that saves you. And right now, you're in the second kind, because in the absence of noise, you begin to notice what you were using the noise to escape. The feelings you kept silencing, the Quran you kept postponing, the prayers you rushed through like tasks, the guilt you buried under distractions, the parts of you that still hurt but never healed. You didn't lose the world. You were invited out of it. And sometimes, when the dunya becomes too loud, Allah gives you silence as a shield, so you can find the voice of your soul again, and through it, find the voice of your Lord. Because what you've been drowning out was never meant to be ignored forever. It was meant to be faced, felt, healed. That pain you kept brushing aside, it's still there, waiting. That guilt you kept quieting with jokes and memes, it never left. That longing for Allah that you buried under ambition and people, it kept knocking. And now, in this strange, quiet season of your life, you finally hear it. You finally hear you again. The real you. The broken but sincere, tired but searching, wounded but awakening version of you that's always belonged to Allah. The world didn't abandon you. It just went silent. so you could finally stop abandoning yourself. 5. The restlessness was never meant to harm you. It was sent to redirect you. You've been thinking something is wrong with you. This restlessness, this confusion, this strange weight in your chest that follows you everywhere, even into rooms filled with people, even when you smile, even when everything looks fine on the outside. You've been treating it like a flaw, something to fix, something to hide. You keep telling yourself, I just need more sleep. I just need to move on. I just need to stay busy. But no matter how much you distract yourself, it always finds you again, in quiet moments, in empty corridors, in sujood, sometimes even in laughter, right in the middle of pretending you're okay. But what if I told you, this feeling wasn't sent to destroy you? What if it was sent to interrupt the direction you were heading? Because Allah knew it was pulling you further and further away from Him. You see, Allah doesn't just guide with light. Sometimes He guides with discomfort, because pain gets your attention in ways comfort never could. And this restlessness, this soul-level heaviness, it's not chaos, it's correction. You were running after people who didn't even see you. You were making choices that felt good, but left your heart emptier every time. You were building a version of yourself that looked strong, but wasn't sincere, wasn't whole, wasn't real. And Allah saw it. He saw the way you were burying yourself under expectations. He saw the way you kept going numb just to function. He saw the way you smiled in public but broke in private. And so He sent something deeper than words. He sent restlessness, not to punish you, but to redirect you, back to your fitrah, back to your Lord, back to the peace you stopped believing you could have. And maybe that's why your plans fell apart, why they left, why you lost what you thought you needed. Because Allah wanted to show you, you don't belong in places where your soul has to shrink to survive. And He knew that if He didn't make it uncomfortable, you'd never leave. You'd never question it. You'd never pause long enough to ask, is this who I was really meant to become? That question, the one you're afraid to say out loud, that's where the redirection begins. Because growth doesn't always start with motivation. Sometimes it starts with pain. And guidance doesn't always come through clarity. Sometimes it comes through confusion so deep, you have no one left to turn to except Him. That's what this is. You weren't being broken. You were being rewired, rebuilt, recentered. So the next time your chest tightens for no reason, or the night feels heavier than your body can carry, don't call it weakness. Call it what it really is. Allah pulling you away from a version of you that was never meant to last, and quietly guiding you back to the one He always loved, the one who remembers Him, the one who cries in sujood, the one who stops chasing everything else and starts chasing Him again. 6. That sudden emptiness is a space being made for Allah alone. You've been feeling it again lately. That strange emptiness. Not just sadness, not just loneliness. It's deeper than that. It's like something is missing. You wake up and feel it. You go out and feel it. Even after laughing with friends, after eating, after working, after scrolling, it creeps back in. Quiet, cold, familiar. And the most confusing part? You don't even know why you feel this way. You haven't been through anything extreme recently. No disaster, no heartbreak. But it's like the joy you used to feel just doesn't arrive anymore. You don't cry, but you don't smile from the heart either. You're just existing, like a shell. And you keep asking yourself, why do I feel so empty when I have so much? Why do I feel so lost when nothing really went wrong? Why do I feel like I'm missing something I can't even name? Let me tell you why. because something is missing. And that something isn't a person. It's not success. It's not money. It's not closure. It's Allah. This emptiness you feel. It's not a glitch in your heart. It's a space. A divine space that was designed to be filled with only one thing, His remembrance. And the reason nothing else satisfies you anymore is because Allah is clearing that space out, removing the attachments, draining the distractions, silencing the noise, not to hurt you, but to make room for Him. Because for too long you tried to fill that space with dunya, with people, with validation, with dopamine, with noise, with dreams that were never written for you. And it worked, for a little while. But eventually, the soul gets tired of being fed everything except what it was created for. Eventually, even the best of this world starts to taste bitter when Allah has decided to call you back. That bitterness, that emptiness, it's sacred. It means your soul is finally responding. It means the veil is thinning. It means your heart is waking up to what it really needs. And right now, Allah is not punishing you with emptiness. He is preparing you for a closeness that you can't even imagine yet. Preparing you to rely on Him in a way you never had the space to before. So if everything is starting to feel meaningless, if the thrill is gone, if the joy is fading and the world feels hollow, good. That means your heart is finally making space for something real, something eternal, something that won't disappear when people do. You weren't meant to feel full from this dunya. You were meant to feel full from dhikr, from prayer, from Quran, from moments where it's just you and the one who never left. So don't run from this emptiness. Don't distract it. Don't numb it. Sit with it. Let it ache. Let it whisper, because that ache isn't trying to destroy you. It's trying to lead you back to the only one who can fill you completely, without ever touching your hands, just your heart. 7. This stillness isn't laziness. It's sacred preparation. You've been feeling stuck, unmotivated, detached from everything you once chased. The fire is gone. The hustle feels pointless. Even your dreams look blurry now, like distant lights that no longer call to you. And because of that stillness, you've started to believe the worst about yourself. I've become lazy. I'm falling behind. Everyone else is doing more than me. I should be moving. I should be changing. I should be doing something. But let me tell you something you may have never heard before. Stillness isn't always laziness. Stillness, when written by Allah, is sacred preparation. You're not lazy. You're being slowed down on purpose. You see, Allah knows how much you've carried. He knows the weight you've dragged behind your smile. He knows the private losses, the silent breakdowns, the prayers that never made it past your lips because you were too exhausted to even form the words. And now He's giving you rest, but not the kind the world understands. The world teaches you to glorify motion, to always be chasing, to measure your worth by what you produce. But Allah, He doesn't just want movement. He wants alignment. He doesn't want you to keep running in the wrong direction, just to feel busy. He wants you to be ready, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, for what He's preparing to send next. And sometimes, the only way to prepare you is to pause you, to empty your calendar, to take away the noise, to dim the things you used to be excited about. Not to break you, but to quiet you enough so you can actually hear what your next chapter needs from you, not what your ego wants from it. This season of stillness is not wasted. It's not a punishment. It's a divine pause before a divine assignment. Because before every rise in the Quran, there was retreat. Before revelation came to the Prophet ﷺ, he was in the cave, alone, still, waiting. And in that stillness came history. So what if your stillness is your cave? What if this quiet season is where Allah is forming the strength, the insight, the heart? You'll need to carry something you're not yet ready for. You're not falling behind. You're falling inward. And in that fall, you're being rooted, firm, deep, quiet, because only deeply rooted hearts can withstand strong winds. So don't rush this chapter. Don't shame yourself for not grinding. Don't let the pace of others convince you that silence means failure. Allah knows something you don't. And right now, He's not asking you to move. He's asking you to trust. This stillness is not a setback. It's sacred ground, where angels still record. Even when you're doing nothing but breathing, healing, and whispering Ya Allah in the dark. 8. The one you've been waiting for is already waiting for you. You keep waiting for someone. Even if you don't say it out loud, your heart says it for you. Every time you hear a love story, every time you see a couple in peace, every time you pray, there's a quiet voice whispering, Ya Allah, when is it my turn? You've been waiting for someone to choose you, to understand you, to see through your walls, to notice the details that everyone else overlooks. Someone who makes you feel safe to finally breathe again, to rest, to stop performing. And in that waiting, you've started to believe that maybe you're just hard to love. Maybe Allah forgot you. Maybe the kind of love your soul aches for doesn't exist anymore. But what if I told you you've been looking in the wrong direction? What if the one you've been waiting for has already been waiting for you? Not a person, not a soulmate, but Al-Wadud, the most loving. The one who's loved you before you even knew what love meant. The one who saw you fully and still chose mercy. You see, the ache you carry isn't for another person's arms. It's for peace. And that kind of peace isn't wrapped in a body. It's wrapped in the remembrance of Allah. You thought you were lonely, but what you really are is disconnected. Because when the heart disconnects from its creator, it starts looking for pieces of him in people who were never meant to carry that weight. That's why no one feels enough. That's why even the right people feel like the wrong fit. Because Allah is gently turning your heart back toward Himself, the only one who will never leave, never get bored, never change. And the longer you search out there for something that can only be found in here, the more tired your soul becomes. This exhaustion you feel isn't from waiting. It's from searching in places that were never built for fulfillment. And now Allah is showing you something sacred, that the love you're looking for is the love you were created to return to. That while you're standing at a closed door, the door of divine closeness is wide open behind you, and always has been. But you kept waiting for a hand to knock, while Allah was already waiting for your heart to turn around. What if the loneliness isn't punishment? What if it's preparation? What if Allah is saving you from getting attached to someone before you're attached to Him? Because He knows, if you attach to them before Him, you'll make them your center. You'll pour into them what should have healed through Him. And when they fall short, because they will, you'll fall apart with them. So instead, He's slowing it down, emptying your hands, holding your heart back, not to hurt you, but to protect the sacredness of your next chapter. And while you've been waiting, so has He. Waiting for your next real prayer. Waiting for the moment you whisper His name, not from habit, but from hunger, from longing, from surrender. Because that's when everything changes. That's when Allah doesn't just send you a person, He sends you the right one, at the right time, in the right state of heart, but only after you realize he was never making you wait on love. He was calling you back to the source of it. So stop thinking you're waiting alone. You're not. You never were. The one who loves you most has been waiting too. So if your heart still feels heavy tonight, if you lie down again and that restlessness returns, don't fight it. Don't scroll past it. And please, don't call it weakness, because that ache isn't trying to hurt you. It's trying to lead you home. You've been running in circles, looking for something to calm your soul. But the answer was never out there. It was always in the space you've been avoiding. The silence, the sajda, the one whisper that begins with, Ya Allah. This restlessness was never random. It was a mercy. A knock from the one who never stopped watching you, never stopped waiting, never stopped loving you, even when you forgot to love him back. So tonight, don't sleep it away. Don't numb it again. Instead, feel it. Let it soften you. Let it break you. Let it guide your forehead to the floor, so your heart can finally rise. Because Allah isn't calling you back in punishment. He's calling you back in love. And even if you've ignored him for years, even if you've been distant, distracted, or doubtful, he's still here, closer than your thoughts, closer than your next breath, closer than the ache you've been carrying alone. This silence, this night, this video, it's not a coincidence. It's a call, and it's time to answer.